Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is our draft prospect show. Along with our producer and engineer, Logan Landers, Vincent Turner, our host and founder, I'm Harper LaBelle. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Today, we're going to talk about Robert McDaniel, a cornerback out of Jackson State. Big enough, tall enough, strong enough to play corner and or safety, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be asked to do that, but here's a guy. You may not know a lot about him now, but he has definitely made an impression out of Jackson State. So you would think, hey, did Dion have anything to do with that? Yeah, a little bit, but there was some backdrop in this. He's traveled around a little bit, but once he finally found his home, he has learned to play the position and do so well. Vincent, tell me something that I would want to know about Robert McDaniel that would impress not only you, but the NFL scouts.
Well, basically, he played at Jackson State. The history there at Jackson State, Lynn Barney, Vernon Perry, Al Coleman, Rashad Anderson, great players that played at a high level on the next level. But what I like about him, he's out of a little small town in Louisiana, and he's from the same area as Bob Butterbean Love, who passed recently, former Chicago Bulls great, Kenny Nat from Louisiana Monroe, Pat Williams, who played at the Vikings, that you should know, Harper, was a very good defensive tackle. And most of all, Ronnie Coleman, former bodybuilder, Mr. Olympia. He's from the same high school where all those gentlemen attended. So the water there must be a little strong for Mr. McDaniel. He's had an interesting career, though, as you said, Harper. Was at Jackson State for 2 years. Then he transferred to Alcorn State, and that's when he got on like the radars of the NFL. In that season that he was at Alcorn State, he had 31 tackles, 20 solos, 2 tackles for loss, but he had 3 interceptions that year, 5 pass breakups, but he played both positions. He was safety and cornerback. And then he goes back to Jackson State, and the rest is history. Back to you, Hawk.
Yeah, size, strength, athleticism. He can catch the ball. The joke is, if you don't know this, folks, what do you call a wide receiver that can't catch? You can call him a DB. But he's a guy that can bring it. He's got good speed. He's got long arms. Again, at 6'2", 215, he's a little bit thicker than what some of the other cornerbacks are. He's not quite as lean, so a little more muscular. But his athleticism has bode him well versus matching up against bigger wide receivers. His ability to get his hands on them without getting holding penalties or anything like that, but slow them down, get in front of them, and make them remove and adjust during their routes. Lateral quickness is as good as any nickel, so he may get some exposure early on in his career to be able to play as that nickelback, that fifth, or maybe even a dime situation. And I think, again, in some situations where, because his ability to stop the run, he's a good tackler, he may be one of those guys that drops down into the box and forces a quarterback to say, nope, we're not going to run to this side. We're going to audible and run away from that extra defender. So a lot of things that he can do in terms of his athleticism, his ability. He's been to a couple different schools, and that's okay. It's just right now, what is he going to be focusing on during this offseason? He's got a good skill set that he brings against wide receivers, and he can play a box safety, which is what I mentioned just a moment ago, or a true corner. One of the things he needs to work on, though, is his speed. He's going to have to get a little bit quicker.
Physical football player that you want at the next level. Excellent closing. What I mean by that, he's a guy that's coming down here, and when he gets there, he's going to make sure he's going to be able to make the tackle. Excellence, you just said, hopping zone coverage. I don't want to be repeating what you said, but for me, the greatest thing with Mr. McDaniel is that he's got great patience as a safety and a defensive back, and he's got great balance. And you know how critical that is, Hop, when you're playing out there as a safety or a corner, and he's impactful in creating turnovers. And I expect that he's going to be that type of player at the next level. Going to be very interesting to see what he runs at the NFL Combine and his speed. Back to you, Hop.
Yeah. Now, tell me, do you know anything about now when Dion left Jackson State? Did he? Because I'm thinking that you bring in Travis Henry, and if I'm Robert McDaniel, I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to play, so I'm going to leave. And then when the staff and everybody goes, then he comes back and has a chance not only to play where he liked it. Obviously, he went back there, but got a chance to excel. Is there any truth in that?
No, I think Deion and them were already gone in 2023. He played at Alcorn State in 2023.
But when he left Jackson State prior to that and then went to Alcorn while Deion was still there, and then Deion leaves and he comes back.
Yeah, that could have played a big part. But what I'm saying, he played in 2023, right? I think Deion had already left and was at Colorado. But you bring up a good point. He might have left right after the 2022 season. And then Deion took the job with Colorado, I think, in the spring, right? So you're right. That's a good point. He probably left there. And then, of course, Deion's son Shiloh was playing the same position he was playing. So it could have been a little, I want to say, maybe some problems there. And he wanted more playing time. But I would say this, when he got to Alcorn State, his game went to another level and he got on the NFL radar then.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking here, I want to play. I want to be in a position where I want to play. So it's a tough decision to make for any young man, but he decided to go against the grain and go find another school. He does. And then he gets a chance to come back and to excel there. So that speaks well for him, at least in my opinion. I think it does. He had 6 interceptions his junior year of high school. He had 6 his senior year of high school. He can catch the ball. He can do so. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not he's able to do that in the next couple of weeks while he's preparing for the combine. He won't be catching any balls, but what's he going to be able to do that first couple of days in training camp, whether he's just with the rookies or you put him with the rest of the roster? Is he able to make a couple of pass deflections, turn and make one of those star receivers go, hey, this kid's bringing it right now. I better play my A game and make him play his as well. So all the best there for Robert McDaniel. Final thoughts that you have here for this Jackson State cornerback.
Hey, prestigious school, so many great players, Peyton, Slater, Bazile. The guy's got some good history behind him. I'm going to give him a nickname, Ball Hawk, because it's shown that he can really carry himself and make some interceptions at this level, and probably going to carry that to him when he get to the National Football League. I'm going to follow him real closely. Mr. Robert McDaniel, your nickname with me here on 100 Yards Football, Vincent Turner, is going to be Mr. Ball Hawk. Back to you, Harper.
There you go, Ball Hawk. Now we're hoping that day 3 becomes a day 2 for you. So a lot of hard work. You work on your speed, your strength, your rotation, your skill, your hip flexion, everything that's a part of becoming a great NFL player. We wish the best for you. So for Vincent Turner, for Logan Landers, I'm Harper LaBelle saying, you better go, girl. You go on. Come on now, Robert. Go get yourself one. We wish you all the best now in your upcoming days here as a National Football League player. So we want to thank you for tuning in to Draft Prospects show that we have here on 100 Yards of Football. Have a fantastic day, everybody. We'll see you soon.